Green.
Well, the better defender needs to be Marcus Smart, and he needs to be the best player on the floor, and this is what I mean by that for him. He spearheads their defense. He will have the ultimate check of guarding Stephen Curry, stops him from being a momentum-like player. And then offensively for the Boston Celtics, when they are loose with the ball, you need a guy like Marcus Smart to control the tempo and the pace of the game and initiate the offense. He is the most important player on the court for the Celtics.
That's fascinating. Meanwhile, who's got the better wingman between the two stars in this series, Jaylen Brown or Klay Thompson?
I'm going to go Jaylen Brown. Now, Klay Thompson is a very special player. I do think he's lost a step slightly from his multiple injuries he's had. But don't get it twisted. We always talk about Jason Tatum being that superstar elite player for the Celtics. Jaylen Brown is similarly the superstar player for the Celtics as much as Jason Tatum is.
Yeah, it is a 1-2 punch.
Yes, it is.
There, I agree with you.
Or a 1-1 punch.
Finally, Steph Curry is the favorite to win Finals MVP. Is he your pick?
I'll probably end up going with Andrew Wiggins just because I know the role that he's going to have to take guarding Jason Tatum and defensively what he brings to the table and also the continuity. There'll be so much attention on Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson. Guys like Jordan Poole or Wiggins will get an opportunity to knock down a lot of shots from the outside.
Well, let's talk about that one for a second. Now, remind everyone, because it feels like a very long time ago, Andrew Wiggins started the All-Star game. So that is not a far-fetched idea. And I love giving the fans something to watch for in this series, something very specific. What are you telling us Andrew Wiggins' role is going to be, in your view, that is so important?
Very similar to the role that he's taken over the last multiple series in the likes of guarding Devin Booker and the likes of guarding Luka Doncic, defensively being active on Jason Tatum, look, the one thing, remember when Jason Tatum was doing a lot of the stuff with Kobe Bryant in detail, and a lot of stuff around Boston around that time was Jason Tatum taking a lot of off-balance, isolated type of shots. So for me, when things get difficult, if he can't get the ball in rhythm, making him a one-on-one isolated player against Andrew Wiggins and the length that he brings to the table defensively will be a win for the Golden State Warriors because it takes Boston out of their continuity in what they run offensively.
That's fascinating to me because I think my expectation is that we would see a lot of Draymond on Jason Tatum in this series.
You'll see a multitude of different looks.
All right, fair enough. That's interesting. All right, let's jump then to the question that's on the screen. So Steph Curry, we all understand he is maybe as beloved a player as we've had in the league in generations and is clearly an all-time great. But if he wins another championship, that's 4. That's a big number. If he finally gets a Finals MVP, what would those things do for his legacy?
I am with Draymond Green all the way on this one, Greeny. I don't think a Finals MVP cements his legacy. It's a talking topic that I think you'll hear a lot of media always speculate because it's something that he doesn't have. But if he wins a 4th championship, and I can also make the case that it may not, he was the best player on the court on the championship team in 2015, even though I know Iguodala got it. But you don't get the spacing on this floor for a guy like Wiggins or Jordan Poole or Klay to operate if you don't have the attention on Stephen Curry 24/7, 365. He is the one that makes this offensive continuity work because of his ability to stretch the defense out and expand people to open up lanes for people to attack.
Understood. I don't think anyone's questioning that. I guess the question is, does he start tipping his way into the sort of rarefied air that a lot of older fans, I guess, like myself, people who follow the sport for a long time, have been hesitant to do? And that is because his game is so unique, because he does something that is so different from what we've seen others do. He doesn't play like or look like Magic Johnson or guys like that.
He looks like the guy walking down the street in New York City.
To some degree,
yes.
Yeah. But, oh, by the way, maybe he's one of the 10 best players that ever lived. That's what I'm trying to get at.
I've said this, and I'll say it again. When it's all said and done, he's going to be a top 10 greatest player of all time. He's going to be in that conversation. He is the best shooter that we've had in the history of the game. His handle right now is top 2, top 3 in the league. You can make case top 2 between him and Kyrie Irving. Pick one on what you want. And then he's revolutionized the game of basketball, Greeny. You have kids in parks shooting the ball from half court. That's never been a thing. And he does it at an exceptionally efficient rate. So when it's all said and done, I'll say this, even if he doesn't win another championship, I think he'll finish top 10.
It's a really interesting discussion, and it's one that will continue. Now, speaking of interesting discussions, you have Draymond Green, who was weighing in on why Steph has never won a Finals MVP, and that set off a whole thing. Here's what he said.
Kevin Durant was absolutely incredible in those finals runs. As you know, You watched it. We all watched it. Kevin Durant was absolutely insane. Steph Curry got double teamed probably 7 times the amount that KD did in a given series.
All right, so that, of course, was with our old buddy Colin Cowherd. And so, because this is America in 2022, a little snippet of that winds up on Twitter. And the next thing you know, Kevin Durant is responding. That's his first response to it. In our previous commercial break before this, I tried as hard as I could to count the number of times Kevin Durant has tweeted about this since it came out, and I can't do it. I didn't have time in the commercial break. He's responding to anyone who will talk to him, including Draymond, who's like, well, did you listen? And KD is like, yeah, I listened. I still disagree. So here we are. And so I guess I will start this part of the conversation. I know you're tight with KD. You coached the team that he was on this year. What is it about Kevin Durant, who is clearly one of the all-time great players and one of the defining players of this generation and could be doing absolutely anything, one assumes, with his time, that what it seems he wants to be doing right now is sitting on Twitter and just arguing with anyone who will send a tweet at him?
Well, no, you know, Kev spends a lot of time on the court. You know what I'm saying? He trains all the time. He's always working out. He's always trying to improve his craft. And in his off time, he goes back home and relax and chill, play video games, or check Twitter, as we see now. But that's what he does, man. He's always like training and focusing on basketball, and that's how he does it.
So I think that
Greeny,
part of
it's the new wave, Greeny.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, look, I mean, at the end, you see the question on the screen.
It's accessible.
Yeah. The whole world is accessible, but just because people can talk to you doesn't mean you have to pay attention to it or respond.
Greeny.
But that having said,
Greeny. Ball is life for some people.
Right.
No, I don't think people really understand this VC and stat. Like, for me, for him, ball is our life.
Right.
Like, I'm in the trenches of analytics. If you want the smoke, you want to bring it on social media, please, I'll engage.
Sure.
Whatever gets me to that place for individuals, that's what gets Kevin to that place. And to your question, should Kevin Durant regret leaving the Warriors?
Yeah.
Kevin Durant is trying to blaze his own path.
Right.
If he feels like his path needs to go outside Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson, then go get it. Is that going to come with some trials and some errors? Yeah. Of course it does. But we asked for this life as hoopers. This is what we do.
Absolutely.
VC, jump in here on this, because that's one of the reasons this conversation comes up, is that Kevin Durant chose to leave. And if we had said, sitting here that day, you were with me, Jay Will, that day after he got hurt in Toronto and everything else happened. If we had said the Warriors will be back in the finals and looking like a dynasty again, and Kevin Durant would be home watching, having gotten swept in the first round the next time that he had a real shot at this, I don't think too many people would have believed it. VC, what do you make of the whole thing?
I agree. I think we all look at things differently as far as what we're trying to accomplish in our basketball career. At this age, if I'm still playing, I'm trying to win a championship. And Kevin Durant wanted a championship because every show that you turn on, because obviously he's always watching, we're talking about he's great, but what? He doesn't have a championship. So some of these guys chose to do that. LeBron was blamed for when he left to go to Miami to win a championship. And of course, he was able to win multiple championships, but Kevin Durant did that and he won his championship. So he got that out of the way. Now he's like, his goal now is to accomplish that on his own. So he wanted to move on, and that's what he wanted to do. We all see it as, man, just imagine how many championships you would have if you stayed with this Golden State Warriors. And I understand that, just like I understand the decision for guys when they want to move on and try to do it their own way and win it with their own team, because that's the way, that was our formula back in the day. It wasn't like to join a team or whatever. It was to do it on your own.
So I'm hesitant to even. Well, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Green, I feel like as an athlete, like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Like VC and T Mac, him and Steve Nash. Like, oh, you can't do it without this guy. Or it's like the dude was there in Golden State. Media and people were trying to rip him away from Golden State. Exactly. They were killing him for that. Yep. Now he leaves to go to Brooklyn to do it by himself.
And then he leaves.
Faces some adversity, and he's getting killed because he should have gone back to Golden State. Damn, what are we doing? What are we doing?
So what are you suggesting? I mean, this is the conversation that goes on today. You can choose to engage in as much or as little of it as you want. And if you were, I'd like to think, I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but I'd like to think if I was Kevin Durant right now, I would not be engaging with someone who's got like 9 digits in his Twitter handle asking me questions about my life. That just does not seem to me as though it's a productive use of his time.
He just engages with Draymond Green the same way he engages with the guy from a 908 era code.
Well, I get it. I get the. So let me ask you about the. I can't believe I'm even asking this question. But let's go back to what started all of this here. Yep. So Colin asks him about Steph not winning the MVP, and Draymond, A, credits Kevin Durant like crazy, and then B, says Steph got double-teamed a lot more. I guess I'm asking the question, does Steph get double-teamed a lot more, like when those teams were together and they were great?
I don't think so. From what I've noticed this past postseason with the Nets is that the game plan was to trap Kevin Durant every chance they got.
Right.
So once he crossed half court, the trap came. Whenever he caught the ball, the trap was there. So there's always a double team for Kevin Durant, and there's only 5 guys on the court, so you can't double both guys, right, when they both play together. So both guys were, had the same level of respect as far as double teaming. So it wasn't like a major difference as far as trying to put more of an emphasis on Steph Curry or Kevin Durant. Both these guys are great in their own space.
Ty Lue, who was the head coach for the Cavs during that time, did state in the quote that they made it a priority to give Stephen Curry a lot more multiple looks during that, because they decided that even though Kevin Durant is one of the greatest ISO players there ever seen, they would take their chances on slowing down the momentum of Stephen Curry. Stephen Curry and BC, this with him and Clay, there's certain guys that when they get going, like those two, they go like on 23 runs.
Yep.
They go on 25 to 2 runs. So you much rather go on a one-on-one and battle with KD and limit that and limit their runs.
Okay, let me just finish this part of the conversation with a question. I'm walking into work this morning, and I'm walking past a basketball court. Now, we work at the South Street Seaport, and there's a basketball court set up outside here because we've got Jay Will and we got the KJM crew playing a basketball game, right, against Spartan DC. What is going on out here? What's going on here, Jay?
We have a 2-on-2 match today.
Right.
I'm trying to bring Stat as my sub, and if Key gets scratched in the face, he decides he doesn't want to play. But we're playing against Alan Hahn and Bart Scott in a 2-on-2 match.
And how's this going to go?
I hope it's going to go as a win. I still feel like I can hoop.
Look at that shot, huh?
Obviously, when I stand next to BC and Stat, I can't hoop that way.
Carter, who's going to win this game
let's
today?
talk about this for a second.
Yeah.
My big brother.
Well, let's talk about this for a second. Jay, look at this. You expect your teammate to show up after you did that to him?
Well, we've been icing the knees, BC. We've been doing a lot of stretching.
Okay.
But we hope he's okay.
Okay. Well,
we hope he's okay.
Prediction tomorrow. Who's going to win?
I have you guys winning this. Yeah. I have Jay and those winning this because, Jay, in this moment, in this arena, this is your field. And I think you understand, just like we've been talking about with Steph and KD, when you see the mismatch, attack the mismatch to get what you want.
See, that's a big brother applying real pressure. That's what he's doing to me.
Here's what I'm worried about.
He's setting me up.
I'm worried about Bart Scott taking you out. At some point,
I got one leg, VC. I got one.